You were not born to simply exist. You were created with purpose, with meaning, and with the potential to live a life full of joy, fulfillment, and peace. You are not an accident. You were not placed here by coincidence. You are the result of intention. Everything about your design points to something greater. Your talents, your desires, your passions, your burdens, none of it is random. But the tragedy of life is that so many people live without ever discovering the reason they were born. They wake up, they go through the motions, they do what is expected, they fit into a system. But deep down they are empty. They feel the weight of misalignment, because happiness does not come from existing. It comes from living intentionally. Happiness is not a mystery, it's a result. A result of principles that, when followed, bring your soul into alignment with the way life was designed to function. When we live outside of those principles, we struggle, we suffer, we strive without satisfaction. But when we come into alignment with the laws that govern joy, peace becomes our companion, and happiness becomes our strength. You cannot find lasting happiness in shortcuts. You must live by laws. These are not laws made by men. They are timeless, eternal truths, written into the fabric of life itself. The first and most powerful rule to live happily is to discover your purpose. There is no joy greater than waking up every day knowing exactly why you are alive. Your purpose is the reason you exist. It's the blueprint behind your creation. When a manufacturer creates a product, that product is designed with a purpose in mind. A phone is created to communicate. A car is made to transport. A light is made to illuminate. Each of these items, no matter how expensive or well built, is only useful, and only fulfilled, when it is doing what it was created to do. You are the same. Until you are functioning in your purpose, you will always feel out of place, always searching, always restless. Your true happiness begins the moment you begin to align your life with your original design. Purpose is not found by guessing or following trends. It's found through discovery, and discovery requires seeking. You must ask the right questions. Who am I? Why was I born? What problem was I designed to solve? What burden do I carry that the world needs lifted? There is something you were born to fix, to build, to create, to lead. It's buried deep within you, and it's waiting to be unlocked. Every gift you possess is a clue. Every passion is a signal. Every frustration is a map. When you begin to notice patterns in what moves you, you are beginning to tap into the well of your purpose. And once you find it, once you taste the joy of doing what you were created to do, nothing else will satisfy. The second rule is to build relationships rooted in truth and trust. No one was created to live alone. You were built for community, but not just any community. The quality of your relationships determines the quality of your emotional life. When you walk with people who honor your calling, who encourage your vision, who celebrate your growth, you will thrive. But if you stay connected to people who drain you, who belittle you, who constantly inject doubt into your spirit, you will live beneath your potential and forfeit your peace. You must choose your circle wisely. You must be intentional about who you allow into your life. Not everyone deserves access to your heart. Not everyone should have a seat at your table. Some relationships are seasonal. Some are assignments, some are distractions, and some are divine. Happiness flourishes in relationships where there is mutual respect, shared values, and open communication. You must surround yourself with those who see your worth, who speak life into you, and who hold you accountable to the greatness within you. If your relationships are built on pretense, if you have to wear a mask just to be accepted, then you are trading happiness for approval. And that's a price too high to pay. Be real, be vulnerable, and expect the same in return. True connection only happens in authenticity. That means being honest about your struggles, your hopes, your weaknesses, and your victories. Don't hide your scars. They are part of your story, and the right people will love you not just in spite of them, but because of them. There is no joy like the joy of being fully known and fully loved. The third rule to live happily is to master the principle of gratitude. Gratitude is not a response to getting what you want. It's a posture of the heart. It is the ability to see value in what you already have. It is the daily decision to focus on what is present instead of what is missing. Gratitude transforms your perspective. It turns your ordinary moments into miracles. It makes you realize that even in the midst of difficulty, there is still something to celebrate. People who live in a constant state of dissatisfaction will never experience happiness, no matter how much they accumulate, because no amount of money, fame, or success can satisfy a heart that refuses to see the blessings it already holds. Gratitude grounds you. It keeps you from chasing illusions. It reminds you that life is not owed to you. It is given to you, and every day you wake up is another chance to embrace the beauty of existence. Every breath you take is a gift. Every friend who loves you is a treasure. Every challenge that shapes you is a blessing in disguise. Make it a habit to thank, to notice, to appreciate. Take a moment every day to pause and reflect on what is going right. You will be amazed at how peace rises when you choose to focus on abundance instead of lack. Joy doesn't always come from getting more. It often comes from seeing more in what you already have. Gratitude is not just polite. It is powerful. It is spiritual strength. It unlocks happiness not by changing your circumstances, but by changing your vision. The fourth rule is discipline. This may sound strange to those who believe happiness is about doing whatever feels good in the moment. But true joy is not found in indulgence. It's found in order. When your life is chaotic, when your priorities are misplaced, when your time is wasted, you may experience moments of thrill, but you will not experience sustained joy. Discipline brings alignment. It brings structure. It brings control. And when your life is under control, your mind is at peace. Discipline means saying yes to what truly matters and saying no to everything else. It means managing your time according to your priorities, not your impulses. It means protecting your focus, guarding your energy, and living with intentionality. Happiness does not belong to the distracted. It belongs to the disciplined. When you are disciplined, you wake up with purpose, you work with vision, you rest with peace, you are not tossed back and forth by every wave of emotion, you are anchored. The most fulfilled people are not the ones who live without rules. They are the ones who live with principles. Discipline is not a punishment, it is a gift. It protects your purpose, it magnifies your strengths, it creates room for peace to grow. A disciplined life is a focused life. And a focused life is a joyful life. You were not designed to live by impulse. You were designed to live by intention, and intention requires structure. When you combine purpose, relationships rooted in truth, a heart of gratitude, and a disciplined life, you begin to experience a joy that no circumstance can take away. You become strong on the inside. You begin to walk through life with a sense of meaning that sustains you. You begin to rise above distractions, discouragement, and disappointment, because happiness is not the absence of problems. It is the presence of purpose. And when you live by these truths, you tap into something deeper than emotion. You tap into joy. There is a kind of happiness that no one can take from you because it does not come from what happens around you, but from what is established within you. It is a deep, settled contentment that grows not from perfect circumstances, but from a life rooted in truth. You see, happiness was never meant to be a reward for achievement or comfort. It was designed to be a product of alignment. When your life, your values, your relationships, and your actions all agree with the truth of how life was meant to be lived, this is where lasting joy is born. The fifth rule to live happily is to forgive freely and completely. Nothing robs a person of joy more effectively than bitterness. It is the silent poison of the soul. You can smile on the outside, you can succeed in public, you can surround yourself with luxury and admiration. But if there is bitterness in your heart, your joy will rot from the inside out. Unforgiveness binds you to the past. It chains your heart to the very people and moments that wounded you, and it turns your memories into prisons, holding your happiness hostage. Forgiveness is not a feeling, it is a decision. It is the decision to release someone from the debt they owe you, even if they never apologize, even if they never change, even if they never acknowledge the pain they caused. You do not forgive because they deserve it. You forgive because you deserve freedom. Forgiveness does not say that what they did was right. It simply says you will no longer allow their wrong to define your peace. You will no longer give them power over your emotions. You will no longer relive the pain day after day. When you hold on to resentment, you re-experience the wound every time you think about it. But when you forgive, you take the first step toward healing. It is not easy. In fact, sometimes it feels impossible. But it is necessary. Forgiveness is how you reclaim control over your heart. It is how you rise above the offense and say, "You may have hurt me, but you will not hold me." It is how you take back your joy. Happiness cannot grow in a heart full of hatred, but it flourishes in the soil of grace. You must also learn to forgive yourself. Some people are not held back by what others did to them. They are tormented by what they did to themselves. They live in constant regret, replaying failures, mistakes, and missed opportunities. But shame is not the voice of truth. It is the voice of defeat. You are not your past. You are not your worst moment. You are more than your mistakes, and if you do not forgive yourself, you will sabotage your own happiness over and over again. Self-forgiveness is not denial. It is acceptance. It is accepting the truth that your past does not cancel your future. Every person who has ever done something great has also done something wrong, but they learn to grow from it, not be defined by it. So must you. Let go of the guilt, learn from the pain, rise from the failure, and allow yourself to experience the joy that comes from grace. You are not unworthy of happiness because of what you've done. You are worthy because you are still here, still trying, still growing, and that's enough. The sixth rule to live happily is to serve others. True happiness is never found in selfishness. The more self-centered you become, the more isolated and anxious you will feel. But when you begin to use your time, your talent, and your energy to lift others, you begin to tap into the deepest level of joy. You were not created just to take. You were created to give. Your life was meant to be a blessing to others. And when you live in that flow, when you wake up with the intention to make someone else's life better, you begin to feel a satisfaction that cannot be bought. Service is not always glamorous. It doesn't always come with applause. But it comes with something better fulfillment. Whether it's mentoring a child, feeding the hungry, encouraging a friend, or simply listening with compassion, every act of service deposits meaning into your life. It reminds you that your life matters, that your presence makes a difference. It lifts you out of the shallow waters of self-interest and places you into the deep current of significance. And significance is the soil where happiness grows strong. There's something sacred about knowing that your existence adds value to someone else's. When you help someone who cannot repay you, when you give without expecting anything in return, when you love without condition, you become a conduit of joy. And that joy doesn't end with you. It flows through you and multiplies. You'll begin to notice that the more you give, the more you receive, not always in material things, but in peace, in love, in meaning, in community. And those are the riches of true happiness. The happiest people are not those who live for themselves, but those who live beyond themselves. They have discovered the secret of selfless joy. They don't hoard time, they share it. They don't guard love, they spread it. They don't measure kindness, they overflow with it. And as a result, they live full, they live free, they live happy. Because happiness is not about how much you possess, it's about how much you pour out. But service also requires humility. You cannot serve others effectively if you are obsessed with being first, being right, or being praised. You must be willing to lower yourself, to consider others more significant than yourself, to listen more than you speak. True service is born from compassion, not competition. And when your heart is soft toward others, when you see people not as problems but as sacred souls, your own life begins to transform. And you must serve not only those you like, but even those you struggle to understand. Happiness grows when you choose to love those who are different from you, when you choose empathy over judgment and unity over division. Every person you meet is fighting a battle you cannot see. Every person is longing to be loved, to be seen, to be understood. When you become the one who gives that love, you will discover a joy deeper than mere pleasure. It is the joy of connection, of compassion, of purpose. There is also happiness in simplicity. We are constantly told that more equals better. More success, more money, more likes, more recognition, but sometimes the pursuit of more blinds us to what we already have. Happiness often hides in the simple things: a walk in nature, a quiet moment with a loved one, a heartfelt conversation, a shared meal, a silent prayer. When you slow down enough to notice the simple blessings, your soul begins to breathe again. Many people live in noise and wonder why they can't hear peace. They fill every moment with distraction and wonder why they feel empty. Silence is not a void. It is space for your spirit to listen, to reflect, to reconnect. Happiness is not always loud. Sometimes it's found in the quiet presence of someone who understands you, in the gentle rhythm of a peaceful routine, in the stillness of knowing you are enough. You must also learn to set boundaries. Happiness cannot survive in a life that is constantly overextended, always saying yes out of guilt or fear. Boundaries are not selfish. They are necessary. They protect your time, your energy, your values, your peace. When you say no to what drains you, you make space for what sustains you, and you do not owe anyone constant access to your mind, your emotions, or your time. You are not responsible for everyone's happiness. You are responsible for your own peace. Sometimes, the most loving thing you can do for others is to love yourself enough to step away, to recharge, to refocus, to heal, because a drained soul cannot pour into others. And when you live constantly depleted, even the things you once loved begin to feel like burdens. Protect your peace, guard your joy. Don't let the chaos of others steal the calm of your spirit. And finally, you must have a vision. Happiness is not found in drifting through life. It is found in knowing where you're going, why you're going there, and what legacy you want to leave behind. A person without vision will be easily distracted, constantly discouraged, and perpetually dissatisfied. But a person with vision endures hardship with hope. They wake up with purpose. They make decisions not based on emotion, but on destiny. Vision gives your life structure, direction, and momentum. You must ask yourself, what kind of life do I want to live? What kind of person do I want to become? What values will guide me? What principles will I never compromise? What impact do I want to leave when my time here is done? When you begin to answer these questions honestly, your life becomes a journey worth taking. And even when the road is hard, your joy remains, because you know you're walking towards something that matters. Happiness is not a myth. It is not reserved for the lucky or the privileged. It is not the reward of ease or the result of wealth. It is the fruit of truth. And if you live by truth, if you walk in purpose, if you build healthy relationships, if you practice gratitude, if you embrace discipline, if you forgive fully, and if you serve with love, you will know a joy that does not waver with the seasons, a peace that surpasses understanding, and a happiness that lasts beyond the moment. True happiness is not a destination. It is the result of deliberate daily decisions. It is not something you find by chance, but something you cultivate by choice. When you align your life with timeless principles, when you live with purpose, discipline, gratitude, forgiveness, and love, you step into a joy that no circumstance can steal. You become unshakable, not because life is easy, but because your soul is anchored. The world may offer temporary pleasures, but lasting happiness is born in truth. So choose to live by these rules, not just to exist, but to thrive, not just to survive, but to shine, because happiness is not just possible, it is promised to those who live with wisdom, with integrity, and with love.